All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Akeem, and welcome to today's blog. Here to continue with all my top 5 prospects for 2014 NFL Draft. Today, I need to talk about another group of pass rushers, my top 5 outside linebackers. I think I have some good diaper dandies for you guys in this year's draft. At number 5, I'm going to go with Georgia Tech's Jeremiah Atachu. Now, for the past 2 seasons, he had over 10 sacks, at least double-digit sacks for the past 2 seasons. He's a good pass rusher. Now, he definitely put some good pressure behind the line of scrimmage, but he does need to work on his cover skills. He can sometimes be grabby and grab the receivers, which can commit penalties, which is not a good thing. And also, he was a little bit confused when dealing with the line of scrimmage in the 4-3 scheme in Senior Bowl practice. He just needs to work on that, but I think with good coaching, he could develop to become a good pass rusher and even help out with in coverage in the National Football League. At number 4, I'm going to go with Kyle Van Noy, the defensive end / outside linebacker from BYU. Now, Ziggy Ansah was last season's number 5 pick to the Detroit Lions, and he was the guy with the more athleticism, but Van Noy was the guy who picked up the numbers at BYU. Now, for the past his career, he had 62 tackles for loss, which is very good. That means he could definitely disrupt the line of scrimmage and even get behind the line of scrimmage. Now, one thing in particular that people are concerned about was his drop number of sacks. He only had 4 sacks this past season and 17 tackles for loss. Now, the tackles for loss is great, but compared to 13 sacks back in 2012, he dropped to 4 sacks this past season. And the reason why he had such a big year in 2012, a breakthrough season, is because of Ziggy Ansah. Ziggy Ansah had to deal with more blockers, and he occupied a lot of blockers in front of Kyle Van Noy, and that's how Van Noy had so many sacks back in 2012. But he's still a good, phenomenal player, in my opinion. I think he'll become a good, reliable player in the National Football League. At number 3, I'm going to go with OSU's Ohio State's Ryan Shazier. Now, he is a well-polished player. Now, he had 249 tackles for the past 2 seasons to go along with 39 tackles for loss. Now, one thing that people are concerned is his pass rushing ability. For the past 2 seasons, he only had 11 sacks. He's not much of a well-developed pass rusher, but he's a good all-around linebacker at outside linebacker who can definitely get from sideline to sideline and register a lot of tackles as well as even tackles for loss. I think he's a good, decent player, well-polished player all around, and that's why I have him at number 3, and he was actually an all Big Ten selection this past season. At number 2, I'm going to go with Anthony Barr out of UCLA. Now, out of everybody on this list, he is the top pass rusher in my opinion. He has everything that you're looking for, and he has a good freakish size at 255 pounds at 6'5". He's a well-developed pass rusher. He also runs a 4.66 40. For the past 2 seasons, he had 23 sacks. He even could have came out his junior season, but decided to stay for a senior year. And in my opinion, I think that was a smart decision to develop a little bit better. Now, he still needs to develop as a run defender. He had 83 tackles his junior year, but down it to 60 this past season. He needs to develop more as a run defender as well. And also, he needs to learn more of different schemes, like the 3-4 scheme. He ran a 4-3 scheme for Jim Mora's defense, and he just needs to improve and become a good, well-around pass rusher and different schemes for a defense in the National Football League. But he's more of a 4-3 outside linebacker. And at number 1, I'm going to have to go with my man Khalil Mack out of Buffalo. Now, he has everything that you're looking for. He had 100 tackles this past season. He can sack. He can get behind the line of scrimmage and force a lot of fumbles, which is key, and that's what caught my attention most. He's a player who can commit turnovers and get the offense back on the field, and that's what defense is looking for. Now, some people are debating between Anthony Barr and Khalil Mack as the number 1 outside linebacker, but I had to go with Mack because of the turnovers. And it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a pass rusher, of course you will go with Barr, but I would have to go with Mack as an all-around player. And some people do talk about the Pac-12 defense compared to the Pac-12 offenses compared to the Mac offenses. And let's not get carried away. There are some good studs in the Mac on the offensive side in the Mac conference. So let's not overlook that, even though I will admit the Pac-12 offenses are a lot better, but still you still have some good valuable offenses in the MAC conference. That's just my personal opinion, and that's why I had to stick with MAC as my #1 player at the outside linebacker position. Now I have a couple of honorable mentions for you guys. Trevor Riley out of Utah, he had 100 tackles this past season, registered 16 tackles for loss and 8.5 sacks. A good, reliable player, definitely with just outside my top 5, as well as Carl Bradford out of Arizona State, Justin's team. He's a good, reliable player. I think he could be a good second-round pick of this year's draft. Now, my sleeper this year, I actually have 2 sleepers at the outside linebacker positions, both from the Big Ten conference, starting with Jonathan Brown from Illinois. He's a good player, 119 tackles this past season. And Denikos Allen from Michigan State. He's a player that I mentioned in years ago in blogs. I had a lot of hope for him coming towards this season, but he still had a good year, 98 tackles. And just like Jonathan Brown, they're not too much of pass rushers, but they could definitely get behind the line of scrimmage, and I think they could be good starters in the National Football League. I'm not saying they're going to be Pro Bowl players, but I think they're going to still be good, valuable outside linebackers in registering tackles and even tackles for loss. They're not really big on pass rushing, particularly Denikos Allen. Kind of disappoint me a little bit. I had high hopes for him as him being a pass rusher, but he is still a good player all around. And that Michigan State defense, especially the linebackers, with Max Burlow as the other linebacker, they had a good linebacking core, and he was actually one of the reasons why that defense had a great year, and they even won the Rose Bowl this past season over Stanford. Those 2 are my sleepers. I think they could be good, valuable players. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys with another top 5 is on Monday, where I will give you my top 5 inside linebackers. Thank you for watching this blog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Keenan Call. Be easy.